my dear students. Today's lesson is statistics, about handling data, and we will speak specifically about the central tendency that's having some measures like mean, mode, median, and range. What is the mean? The mean is sum of values over number of values, which is the average, to be discussed in another video. What is the mode? It is the most frequent value or the most frequent color or something related to the question. What is the median? It is the value in the middle on condition. You should first arrange all the values ascendingly or descendingly. So median in the middle. Say it, median in the middle. Say it, median in the middle. What is the range? It is the maximum value minus the minimum value. But today's lesson will concentrate on the median and how to find the median for a grouped data. Grouped means we cannot find the details of all raw data, but we have them as groups. For example, here are 200 students. This question from 2010, paper 4. 200 students were asked how many hours they exercise each week. The table shows the results. This table, we call it the frequency table. Why do we call it frequency table? Because how frequent or the number of repetition, how many students? So, number of students means frequency. Number of students means frequency. So frequency means number of. Frequency means number of. And 12 students, they exercise from 0 to 5 hours. 15 students, they exercise from 5 hours to 10 hours. 23 students exercise from 10 hours to 15 hours, and so on. In total, if you want to check your work, if you add the number of students in the second row, they should add up to 200, because in the beginning he mentioned that they are 200 students. You know that 12 students exercise between 0 and 5 hours, but you don't know how many students exercise 1 hour, how many students exercise 2 hours, how many students exercise 3 hours, and so on. The details is not mentioned. Details are not mentioned. So now, that's why they need us to calculate an estimate of the mean. In this video, we'll concentrate on the cumulative frequency table, which is how to find the median. Not only the median, he usually asks about some measures which are usually mentioned with the median, like the interquartile range, which is maximum minus any range, maximum minus minimum. Interquartile range means upper quartile minus the lower quartile. And also he will ask about percentiles, and we'll explain all these things. But first of all, how to form the cumulative frequency table from the frequency table. This is the cumulative frequency table. How to form it. Now let's go. First of all, you will deal with all these numbers, but you will take the upper bound, like number of students who exercise less than or equal to 5 hours. They are 12. Number of students who exercise less than or equal to 5 hours, they are 12. Okay, this is easy. Next, number of students who exercise less than 10 hours. Less than 10 hours means all these together. 12 plus 15, which is 27. So the next value will be 27. I'm repeating, we are dealing with the upper bound of each group. Number of students who exercise less than or equal to 15 hours. Less than 15 hours, it means all these students, which is 23 plus 15 plus 12. It means cumulative. Cumulative. They are increasing. Because first of all, you took the 12 students, then 12 plus 15, which is 27, then 12 plus 15 plus 23, which is 50 students, and so on. Now, let's go. Number of students who exercise less than 5 hours. You said they are 12. Number of students who exercise less than or equal to 10 hours. It is the 15 plus the 12. Number of students who exercise less than or equal to 15 hours. All these, which are 12 plus 15, you just write it on the calculator. Answer plus 23. It was 27. Then 27 plus 23 will be 50. You say it. What shall I say now? Number of students, yes, say it. Number of students who exercise less than or equal to 20 hours, the previous 50 plus these 30. 50 plus 30 is how much? It's 80. Number of students who exercise less than or equal to 25 hours. It is the previous answer, which is 80, and then you add this 40. It will be how much? 120. Number of students who exercise less than or equal to 30 hours. It is the previous answer, which is 120, and there is an additional 35. What shall I write here? I'll write 100 and 155. Complete. Number of students who exercise less than or equal to 35 hours. It is the previous 155 plus this additional 25. 155 plus 25, the answer is 180. What's your check? The check is number of students who exercise less than or equal to 40 hours is the whole number of students, which is 200. How to check my work? If you add 180 plus this 20, if you get it to 100, then no need to check, because this is your final check and this means you're perfect. Now we form the cumulative frequency table. All the values are cumulative. What comes next? Drawing the cumulative frequency curve by plotting how many points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, they are 9. Why 9? Because the first point, we shouldn't forget it. The first point is 0 and 0, because it means that number of students who exercise less than 0 hours, sure they are 0 students. This point will be 5, 12. The next point will be 10, 27. Next point is 15, 50. Next point is 20, 80, and so on till the last point is 40, 200. Let's have a look. I already plotted the points for you. This is the cumulative frequency curve, which is usually like an S curve. It looks like a letter S going up. We have to count the points in order to check our work. Now let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I told you the first point, which is 0 and 0, don't you ever forget it, please, because it means number of students, 0 students less, 0 students exercise for how many hours? Less than or equal to 0 hours, which is impossible. It means negative number of hours. 0 students, of course. Now let's connect them by our pencil, of course. Should be a smooth curve. Don't use the ruler. Okay, after connecting the curve, after connecting the points, of course, it should be smooth. You can buy a flex curve. You know, flex curve makes you connect the points smoothly. Try not to use the ruler because it should be freehand. if you make any mislocating for a point, you will feel it, because it should be smooth curve. Now let's read the question. The first question is, on the grid, draw a cumulative frequency diagram to show the information in the table in part B, which is done. Second, on your cumulative frequency diagram, show how to find the lower quartile. The lower quartile, you can know from the expression quartile. It means you divide the 200 into quarters. The lower quartile, I'll write here, expression LQ at quarter of the total number. Quarter of the 200 is 50. Is it 50? No. You should go to the number, to the value which is 50, and you hit the curve and read the lower quartile from the x-axis. Lower quartile is 50. This is the first question D. Now the lower quartile is 15. 15 what? 15 hours. Because you read from x-axis time in hours, but on y-axis it's written cumulative frequency. You have to remind yourself that you are reading number of students from y-axis. Now question E. In question E, use your cumulative frequency diagram to find the median. The median, we said before that median in the middle. Say it, median in the middle. So middle of what? Of the 200. What is the middle of the 200? 100. Okay. So the median at half of the 200, which is at 100, the median will be, here is 100, and as usual, we draw a dotted line with the ruler. You hit the curve and drop a perpendicular to the x-axis, and you read the median from x-axis. Let's make it bigger. Zoom in. Between 20 and 25, there are 10 blocks, and each baby block reads how much? We said it before in a video, and we have to write the scale of x-axis in order to concentrate when we read, which is last minus first over number of blocks. Last minus first over number of blocks. 25 minus 20, it is 5. When you divide 5 divided by 10, it is half. So 0.5 per baby block. So how to read this part? It is after 20 by each 2 blocks is 1. 21, 22, 23. So this answer will be 23. Now the interquartile range, from the word range, we said before, range means maximum minus minimum. Interquartile range means upper quartile minus lower quartile. Lower quartile, we already got it, which is 15. So we need now the upper quartile. Upper quartile at 3/4. I'll write it here. The upper quartile at 3/4 of the total number of students, which is 200. 3/4 of 200 is 150. It means it is the 150th, and before we were speaking about the 100th. The 100th value is 23 hours. And here, the lower quartile, it is the 50th value, which is 15. Okay? 50th student, because the y-axis is reading students. Now, 150 on y-axis, dotted line, you hit the curve. It is 1 block before 30. We said before that each baby block is a half, so it is 25, so it is 29.5. So the upper quartile is 29.5. So now interquartile range is upper quartile minus lower quartile, which is 29.5, 29.5 minus 15, 14.5. Of course, all these values are number of hours. The 60th percentile, he means the 64th percentile. He means 64% of the 200 students. 64% means 64 per 100 of the 200 students. You just calculate it, and 0.64 multiplied by 200 will be 128. 128th student. We didn't say anything about the y-axis scale. Y-axis scale, it is between 100 and 120. We say last minus first over number of blocks. Last minus first over number of blocks. 120 minus 100, it is 20. Then you divide by 5 blocks, it means 4 students per baby block. So how to represent 128? It is after 120 by 2 blocks. Here is 128, dotted line. You hit the curve. After 25 by 3 blocks on x-axis, and so it is 25 and a half, 26, 26 and a half. So the 60th percentile will be 26 and a half hours. The last thing usually in this type of questions, he will ask you about number of students. It means the reading will be from y-axis this time, not from x-axis. So let's count. The median to be read from x-axis, which is the value in the middle. Here is the median. The lower quartile to be read from the x-axis. Here is the lower quartile. The upper quartile to be read from the x-axis, which is 29 and a half. Here is the upper quartile. The interquartile range, it is the upper quartile minus the inner quartile, which is IQR, interquartile range to be read also from x-axis. The 64th percentile to be read also from the x-axis. The last question usually to be read from y-axis. Finally, here you are. He wants you to find the number of students who exercise for more than 17 hours. 17 hours means you have to read 17. Start with the 17 on x-axis. Let's use another color. 17 means after 15 by 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. You hit the curve and go to the right, go to the left and read it from y-axis. Here is 17 hours, and you go vertically, hit the curve and read from y-axis 60 and half block above the 60. What does it mean? We said that y-axis, it is 4 per baby block and half a block is 2. So it will be 62. But this answer should be 200 students minus 62 students, because you need number of students who exercise more than 17 hours. More than 17 hours, it's all these number of students from here to here. Because we read less than something, less than something. Remember the table? Everything here was less than something, less than 5, less than 10, less than 15. Everything is less than something, less than something. So if he asks about more than, you say total minus less than something. Total minus number of students, which are exercising less than or equal to 17. So it should be 200 minus your reading on the y-axis, 200 minus 62. The answer is 138 students. That's why it's worth 2 marks, because if you wrote your answer 62, you'll take only 1 mark. If you write it 138, you will take the 2 marks. That's all for today. Thank you. Goodbye.